So what's up guys, I am Black Ops Amazing, welcome back to another video on the channel where today we have some exciting news for, well I suppose it depends on how you look at it, but for Treyarch's next game, which is coming out, I will say now, in 2024. It should have been in 2023. We've been talking about it for, I don't know, a few months now. We all know that it is Treyarch developing next year's Call of Duty. This year is Infinity Ward. Last year was Sledgehammer, and so going by the yearly cycle, Treyarch's would have been in 2023. But we've had some breaking news from some very reliable sources that Treyarch's next game is going to be delayed up until 2024, and this is the first time since COD really took off almost 2 decades ago that this has happened. We've had yearly Call of Duties since I can remember. It's a tradition. Obviously at the moment there are a few things going on surrounding COD. The whole Activision situation with the CEO and Bobby, the fact that the latest game, COD Vanguard, is a failure in terms of Call of Duty anyway, compared to any other game. Probably not, but this is the worst launch it's had on PlayStation for 14 years. It's also one of the worst launches they've had overall since 2007. That combined with the fact that Treyarch have had to come in and help Sledgehammer. They've made rank play on this game that isn't theirs. They've also made the zombies mode on this game that isn't theirs. And the big one, of course, being Activision's acquisition by Xbox. They, if everything goes according to plan, are due to take over this company next year in 2023. Although that won't affect this news that we've heard today because at the moment Xbox and Activision are still independent. So the news to delay Treyarch's game, which was due to come out next year to 2024, would have been Activision's decision, not Xbox's. So anyway, let's just get straight into this. Jason posted this over on Twitter. He is a game journalist, very credible. He's given us most of the information to do with the Xbox acquisition. He also told us stuff about Vanguard and Treyarch releasing Black Ops Cold War, which wasn't supposed to be their game. All stuff we found out first from this guy. So he's tweeted, for the first time in 2 decades, Call of Duty will skip a year. Activision has delayed 2023's game made by Treyarch to 2024, sources tell Bloomberg. It's a shocking move that will have a massive impact on the franchise and industry. If you want to check the article out for yourself, I will leave the link to it down in the description, but it says Activision Blizzard will delay a Call of Duty game that had been planned for next year, the first time the franchise will be without an annual mainline release in nearly 2 decades, according to people familiar with the plan. The company is pushing off the release after a recent entry in the series failed to meet expectations, leaving some executives to believe that they're introducing new versions too rapidly. The decision was not related to Activision's agreement to sell itself to Microsoft for $69 billion. Activision is working on other projects to fill the gap next year. A Call of Duty game set to come out this fall will receive a steady stream of additional content, and there will be a new free-to-play online title next year. Treyarch, the Activision studio working on the now delayed game, will also help with the free-to-play title, the people said. We have an exciting slate of premium and free-to-play Call of Duty experiences for this year, next year and beyond. That's what a spokesperson for Activision wrote in an email statement. We're looking forward to sharing more details when the time is right. The delay will have a massive effect on the video game industry. Every fall since 2005, Activision has put out a new premium entry to the lucrative shooting series. Call of Duty games regularly top yearly sales charts and have sold more than 400 million units since the series began back in 2003. Last year's entry, Call of Duty Vanguard, failed to meet Activision's sales expectations, leading executives to suspect that it had been cannibalized by the previous year's game. A free-to-play version released in 2020, Call of Duty Warzone, remains a massive success and may have drawn players away from the premium entries. Activision remains autonomous, and Microsoft could decide to change these plans after the acquisition, which is expected to be finalised by summer of 2023, pending approval from regulators. Call of Duty games are developed by a rotating stable of Activision's development studios. This year's entry, a new Modern Warfare game, will be made by Infinity Ward. Bloomberg earlier reported that Activision executives were seriously considering skipping a year of Call of Duty. So there we go, a lot of information there, but apparently, according to this, we are not getting a new Call of Duty from Treyarch in 2023, and instead, that game has now been delayed to 2024. But as you just heard from this, that doesn't mean we aren't getting anything from Call of Duty next year. In fact, that also doesn't mean we aren't getting a new title. This report states in order to fill the gap of next year, Modern Warfare 2, which is coming out later this year, will get a steady stream of content throughout 2023, and also there will be a new free-to-play online title that comes out in 2023 as well. But as to what that is, we don't quite know. So if you're into Treyarch's games, or even if you're not, this is pretty good news, because if we look at their previous entry, which was Black Ops Cold War, one of the main complaints that everybody had was the lack of content, especially when it came to the zombies mode. As for multiplayer, I can't really talk too much because I didn't play it, but I know for the zombie side of the game, one of the major complaints that we had was the lack of content, especially compared to games like Black Ops 4 or BO3. There definitely wasn't as much in that game, and a lot of that was down to time restraints. As I said at the beginning of this video, Black Ops Cold War wasn't even Treyarch's game in the first place. If you look at Call of Duty's yearly cycle in terms of developers, each developer releases a game every 3 years, and the game before Black Ops Cold War was Modern Warfare 2019, so that was Infinity Ward. That should have meant then, according to the yearly cycle, the game before Modern Warfare 2019 should have been Sledgehammer's, but obviously it was Treyarch's. That was Black Ops 4. Sledgehammer missed a year because Cold War was supposed to be their game originally. That was before Treyarch came in and finished it off. And really, ever since then, the yearly cycle of developers has been messed up because even this year with Vanguard, even though it's a Sledgehammer game, Treyarch had to come in and finish off the zombies mode. And again, just like Cold War, it is very obvious looking at the zombies mode on this game, it is lacking content, quality, and a lot of this comes down to time restraints. And if this was to continue, if we carried on with this yearly cycle that we've been having lately, Treyarch's next game in 2023 more than likely would have been rushed as well. Part of the zombies team are working on Vanguard. They only just released Cold War in 2020, and they've continued making zombies and multiplayer DLC up until recently, and actually they're still doing it now. We have year 2 of Cold War, as some people like to call it. So if Treyarch were to release their game next year, just like the previous one, it would have been rushed, especially the zombies mode. So to know that it's delayed is good news. It should mean more content and better quality when it finally does release. And of course, it's also better for the developers as well, because Jason also tweeted, "For the first time, sentiment I've heard from the folks at Treyarch is that they're extremely excited about getting an extra year. In 2019, I wrote a story that in part talked about how difficult they found the rushed schedule of Black Ops 4. This is the opposite situation." And that to me is interesting because looking at the zombies portion of Black Ops 4, if the developers back then were talking about a rushed schedule, that to me is very weird because Black Ops 4 had the most content for zombies on day one. And you could even argue the quality of what we got, maps, characters, Easter eggs, storyline, there was a lot on day one. There were problems, quite a few glitches and bugs, blue screens, but to know that the developers felt rushed during BO4, you probably wouldn't have thought that. You could have said that for Cold War or Vanguard Zombies, but I wouldn't have said that for BO4, so that's interesting to know. But the fact that Treyarch's developers are excited about getting an extra year, that should tell you everything. But what does this mean for next year then? If we're not getting a premium Call of Duty, what will we be getting instead? Well, according to Jason, he says that next year's offerings will include a new free-to-play game, as well as content for Warzone 2, which we have heard of, and DLC for Modern Warfare 2. We have been hearing of a Warzone 2 for quite a while now. That's being developed by Infinity Ward, but there is this mysterious free-to-play game that we keep hearing of. Some people have speculated that this is going to be Warzone Mobile. Charlie Intel did say that this free-to-play mode isn't Warzone Mobile from what they've heard, and from what we've read in this article, Treyarch are helping to develop this free-to-play mode, which makes me question even more as to what it could be. Could it be something similar to Call of Duty Online like we had in China? Basically a free-to-play Call of Duty multiplayer game. And it's also interesting to note that COD Online had a zombies mode as well. So if this free-to-play mode coming out next year is like COD Online, maybe that's what Treyarch are working on, the zombies portion of this free-to-play mode, and then perhaps some other developers are working on the multiplayer side. I don't know, that's just a guess, maybe more wishful thinking. But anyway, getting back to it, yeah, like I said, a lot of people have been saying that this could have something to do with Microsoft taking over Activision, but as I mentioned earlier, at the moment, the acquisition hasn't happened, they're still totally independent. Jason says that this decision has been made completely independent of Microsoft. The actual reason for it is that COD Vanguard underperformed and the Activision executives were concerned about games cannibalizing one another. And what's even more interesting about this to me is Activision did actually come out and make a statement on this news. They said, "We have an exciting slate of premium and free-to-play Call of Duty experiences for this year, next year and beyond. Reports of anything otherwise are incorrect. We'll look forward to sharing more details when the time is right." They said this in response to what Jason said about COD 2023 being delayed till 2024, and well, if you look at this, they don't deny it. They say we have an exciting slate of premium and free-to-play COD experiences for this year, next year and beyond. They don't straight out deny that COD 2023 made by Treyarch is delayed. We already know that we're getting a new COD this year from Infinity Ward, and they've also told us that we're getting a free-to-play game next year in 2023. Them saying they have an exciting slate of premium and free-to-play experiences this year and next year. Well, as I mentioned, there are reports that Treyarch are working on this free-to-play mode for next year. that won't be their main game. And just a few hours ago, another leaker called Ralph, he put out a very vague and mysterious tweet, which was this. It just said 2023 with a zombie emoji. But if Zombies from Treyarch in the next game is delayed until 2024, why would Ralph tweet an emoji of a zombie and say 2023? Could this have something to do with the free-to-play mode we're getting next year? Something that this reminded me of is a tweet that we got from Tom Henderson about a year ago now. You will also know he is a very credible leaker in the Call of Duty community, where he said there is a separate Call of Duty Zombies project in early development that is currently not connected to any title. He said this a year ago. We went through that whole time without hearing anything else, so I just thought either he got it wrong or this was a scrapped project. But now we have this other leaker, Ralph, tweeting the date 2023 with a zombie emoji. Could the premium Call of Duty title we are getting next year be a standalone COD Zombies game? I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. There's also been a lot of speculation that it could be Zombies Chronicles 2. If Treyarch's game has been delayed till 2024, what are we getting next year to do with zombies? I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much, I don't want to get anyone's hopes up or get people excited, but even if this isn't true and we don't get a zombies only game next year or a Zombies Chronicles 2, it's still exciting for any zombies player because now that Treyarch have gotten a year extra to develop the mode, we could see it return to its old glory days. BO3. Hopefully we'll get a lot more content in this next zombies experience than any other project we've seen from them in the past, which also mean better quality, more Easter eggs, actual round-based maps. Zombies could return to the glory days. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Thank you all for watching and I will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.